What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are taking a look at Alexander. So I'm going to throw his pictures on the screen right now. And yes, he is a younger version of Alexander the Great, or Iskander, depending on, I don't know what you know him as. From Fate Zero, he is the writer in that. So that's pretty cool. He does have some really awesome artwork, especially his final ascension. I really enjoy the artwork. He looks a lot like Shiro in his final artwork, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, yeah, that's that. His stats here are going to be 7,356 attack at level 70 and 8,640 HP at level 70. His stats aren't really anything super special here. They're okay. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend ascending or using Grails on this character. Obviously, you want to ascend the character. But personally, I think Grails are mainly used for, like, your favorite characters or your waifus or whatever you want to call them. Or, like, really good lower level characters that you want to just bump up to, like, the 4-star or 5-star level stats. But I wouldn't really recommend using it on this character. So, I don't know. That's my opinion. All this is just my opinion. You guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. Anyway, moving on to his skills here. His first skill is called Charisma C, which will increase the attack of all allies for 3 turns. It is a pretty low attack boost, but it's still an AoE attack boost, which is always really nice. Not much else to say here. So his second skill is going to be called Fair Youth B, which has a chance to inflict charm on humanoid enemies for 1 turn. And it's a pretty solid chance. 50% at level 1, 80% at level 10. It's nice, and it's not really geared towards male or female, but it's geared towards humanoid enemies. So obviously it's only going to be useful against those, and if you're fighting something that's not humanoid, then well, you're just not going to need the skill. But he does have some pretty good other skills to complement that, so if you're going in against something else, you could still make use of the character, as opposed to some other characters where they're primarily only useful against one specific type of enemy. At least this guy has a little bit else he could use if you're not going against the humanoid type. Anyway, his third skill is going to be called Signs of a Supreme Ruler A, which increases quick card effectiveness for 3 turns. Now this is gained by a strengthening power-up quest, so it will be some time before we will have access to this, but what it does is it'll give you the 10% increase at level 1 and a 20% increase at level 10. So that's really nice if you complement it with other craft essences that I'll talk about later on in the video, or his unique craft essence. So overall, like, you're going to be using him on a quick team to begin with, so having as much effectiveness boost as you can is always going to be really nice. So now I'm going to throw up his Ascension and his skill enhancement materials. And this guy doesn't need a whole lot, to be honest. You do need some crystals and some feathers and some horseshoes, and I know that kind of sounds like a lot, but you don't really need that many. Like, you need 5 horseshoes and you need 9 feathers overall. The crystals are probably going to be the hardest thing to get, but it's not bad. And then you need the Proof of Heroes, which you just get from logging in. So he's pretty generous to max ascend this character. And then for his skill enhancement materials, it's pretty much of the same here, except you're going to be needing the claws as well. So just a little bit more, but really it's much of the same. And then you need some more Proof of Heroes as well. Not a whole lot there. So maybe this would probably be one of the, you know, if you like the character, probably be one of the first ones you end up maxing. So as for his craft essence here is going to be called Cask of the Wise, and this will increase quick card effectiveness of all allies by 15% while in the field. So it's your standard generic quick card effectiveness boost craft essence. Not much else to say here. We've already talked about this craft essence quite a few times in these character spotlight videos. So moving on here to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm, he will have 2 quick, 2 arts, and 1 buster card. So you will primarily use him in quick and arts teams. And his Noble Phantasm is also quick, which will deal heavy damage to all enemies and gain critical stars on the overcharge, which is pretty nice. It does do a pretty solid amount of damage at level 5. It's going to be a 1000% damage multiplier, or I don't know if it's actually a multiplier, but it's going to do 1000% damage, so that's always nice. It's not too crazy, but it does do AoE damage, so you can't really expect too much for it. And then you can do an interlude quest to power this up, and this will bump up the damage to 1200, and you gain 10 extra critical stars with it. So that's always really nice. Anytime you can gain extra damage from anything is definitely worth going after. And his interlude quest is in the 3rd Singularity, which is not currently released on Global, but it should be the next, well, it's going to be the next one released. So whenever that comes around, you can do his interlude quest and power up his Noble Phantasm. And he has a 3-star unit, so he should be pretty easy to actually get. So it all works out pretty well. So now we're going to talk about some of his craft essences. Again, this is going to be your standard quick setup craft essence here with Kaleidoscope, and then Grandeur for the 15% increase, and Imaginary Around for the 25% increase. And I always forget Imaginary Around every time. If you always wondered why I have that pause after Grandeur, it's because I'm just thinking in my head like really fast, trying to remember what the 25% increase card is. I do it every video, and I never remember it. But I always seem to get it before I make it really awkward. So yeah, those are some of the craft essences you can use on this guy. I probably should have figured out who I want to do tomorrow, actually. Oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be doing Boudica. So, you know, stay tuned for that. I'm going to leave you guys with Alexander's Noble Phantasm, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.